Mounce, BBG, chapter 22, sentence 2. Starts with an and, of course, and then as you kind of glance through the sentence, here's probably your subject, and that means that'll be your first verb. And then you have an and here and an and here, and then you got a prepositional phrase. So, hopefully those kinds of things help you pull it apart before you start. Let's go to the first and just look at this sentence. And of course, the disciples is nominative plural. That's easy enough. And then you've got this verb, and you say, well, okay, that doesn't look like anything I know, but hopefully you've memorized by now Elthon. And please, if you haven't already, take a look at the document that I posted in a lesson called Freaky Verbs. And really all I mean by that is it's the verbs that are sort of the main verbs that you'll see moving from one stem to another with big changes. And you may know, hopefully by now, if you've had a chance to look at that, look at Erchomai, and what you'll see is Erchomai goes to Elusomai in the future, which goes to Aelthon in the aorist, and boy, they don't look anything like each other. I mean, those verbs, stems just change very, very radically from one tense to another. So in this case, what you really have is you have Aelthon plus that preposition x or out of, and Aelthon being from Erchomai. So, but as an aorist. So beyond that, you're going to recognize that this is either first singular or third plural. Hopefully you recognize by now. So, but with an aorist stem. So then you kind of say, well, all right, is it first singular or third plural? Well, you got a plural subject, so that therefore this has got to be third plural, got to be a they. So you're going to have and the disciples went out, or came out, in this case probably went out, because the very next thing they're going to do is into the city. So, and the disciples went out, and here you've got just Aelthon without the X, and of course that's out of, and here you have into. So, given that, you kind of go, okay, and the disciples went out and came into and hopefully you recognize that this is coming from polis or city. So, again, the disciples went out and came into the city, and then you've got your next verb, which might give you a little trouble because it's another one that shifts into, when you're looking at the aorist. Hopefully you recognize these first three letters and you say, well, okay, I did remember a verb called, that I memorized that was heurisco. And then you look at the Mounce laminated sheets to kind of check your work and say, well, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, it is. Heurisco in the aorist goes to Huron. The only thing to recognize there, though, is that this is talking about referring back to the antecedent, the disciples. So again, while the aorist form, aorist stem, is going to be something you're going to memorize as Huron, which would be the first singular, in this particular case, it looks exactly the same in the third plural. And since you got a plural subject, this is going to be third plural as well. But again, from heurisco, aorist stem, so you're going to say, and they found. And then we're going to stop there because, they found, and then there's nothing in the accusative after that. And find in English is transitive. You find something. So in this case, there's nothing after that verb. So you kind of have to supply that because of the difference. Apparently in Greek, that can be intransitive. They found, and you just kind of supply that as though the object is ellipsed, and you just kind of get it. But bottom line is, you're gonna insert that. You're gonna insert something there because in English it is transitive, and you're gonna probably just insert things. and then just as, and then, again, it was with a third singular, he said, and it's the disciples, so you're figuring that's Jesus that they're talking about. So you're going to run with he, and then autois is a dative plural, to them. Okay, so one more time, the disciples, and the disciples went out, and they went in to the city, and they found things just as he said to them.